Today we're going to be transforming this plain white wall into this really fun, bright, bold, stenciled, and a polka dot wall. So for supplies, you're going to need several different kinds of paintbrushes. A normal one as well as some smaller ones are optional, but will make it a lot easier. You're also going to need 2 paint colors, one for the base of your polka dots and one for your stencil pattern. And then I'm also going to show you a few different ways to do the polka dots. For the first way, you're going to need some string. And if you've seen our arched wall video, we're doing this exact same technique. You're going to tie the string around your paintbrush or through the hole if it has one. And then you're going to pin it where you want it and pull your string taut as you make a circle around it with the paintbrush. And it can be a little difficult to make your circle perfect, especially if this is your first time doing it. So I might recommend using a pencil first instead of the paintbrush. You would do the exact same thing, and that would just guarantee that you can try it multiple times if you're worried about messing up. And make sure to do this with a straight edge paintbrush. This will give you the best clean lines. And then after I filled my circle completely in, I went back with a tiny brush and just fixed up the edges. You can also go in with white paint if you go over the line too much. The second technique you can do is to use random objects like an empty paint can to draw your circles. This one is definitely the easiest, and then you can just fill in the pencil line. The only reason I didn't do this for my first polka dot is just because I wanted to have one really big polka dot and I didn't have a circular object that was big enough for it. But I used water bottles, plates, all different stuff, and then filled in all my circles. And the last way that you could do this technique is we do have a polka dot stencil. If you've seen our previous polka dot wall tutorial, then you are already familiar with this. And you can order the stencil in a multitude of sizes if you really want to have the confidence of using a stencil for your polka dots so you can't mess up at all. And then I'm going to be filling in the circles with our tiger tooth stencil, and the first thing you want to do is make sure the stencil is really secure by taping it down. And I'm going to be filling in the stencil with black metallic paint. You really don't need a lot of paint on your brush at all. I would recommend having a paper towel or something to wipe excess paint off onto. And as you can see, I am definitely going to need to go back in with 2 coats. 2 coats did the trick perfectly for me and gave me a nice, really solid black color. And then I removed the stencil so I can move it to a new area, and I think it turned out really well. There was a tiny bit of smudging, but you can easily go back in and fix that with your yellow color. And then my stencil pattern wasn't big enough to entirely cover and fill in my biggest circle, so while part of this big circle dries, I'm going to fill in a smaller circle and then circle back to my bigger circle to fill in the rest. And I'm only filling in the pattern where it is on yellow, so be careful on the edges where your stencil hasn't ended yet, but you need to end because the circle line ends. Just make sure to use a small brush to really get the edges really nicely. And then here is the finished look. I really love how bold and bright it is. This would be so fun for like a specialty room or a kid's room. I had a very similar look in my own bedroom growing up that I actually stenciled myself in middle school, so this was definitely a fun, very personal design for me to do. You can also see just how gorgeous the metallic paint looks in the light. Head to our website to check out more of our stencils, and don't forget to tag us on social media with your stencil art.